Story 28, Thorn Rose, of Story Our Reader's Third Year, by Ida Coe and Alice Christie. Read for LibriVox.org into the public domain. Thorn Rose. In the long, long ago, there lived a king and queen who for many years had no children. At last a lovely baby was born to them, a little princess. There was great rejoicing all over the land. The king and queen decided to have a party in honor of the princess. In the palace there was hurry and stir to make ready. Messengers were sent far and near to invite the lords and ladies of the land to the great feast. Among the guests invited to the party were 7 good fairies. It was a beautiful summer afternoon. The roses on the palace wall were nodding their heads sleepily in the warm breeze when the chariot with the 7 fairies arrived. The good fairies entered the princess's room. There the tiny baby lay, sleeping in a dainty pearl cradle. "She is as sweet and fair as a rose," they exclaimed. "We will call her Rose." Now it happened that the king and queen had failed to invite a spiteful and ill-tempered old witch. The old witch was very angry because she had not been invited to the party. After the guests had all arrived, she entered through the keyhole. No one saw her enter. Each of the good fairies bestowed on the princess a precious gift. "I bestow upon you, sweet princess, the gifts of health and cheerfulness," said the first fairy. "You shall be the most beautiful princess in the world," said the second fairy. "You shall be witty and wise," said the third. "You shall have the sweetest voice that ever was heard," said the fourth. "You shall be generous and kind," said the fifth. "Every one shall love you," said the sixth of the good fairies. Just then a spiteful laugh was heard. "Ah, ah, ah!" someone called. The king and queen saw the old witch who had not been invited to the party. "I will tell you what shall happen to this little wonder," said the witch. "She will cut her finger with a spindle before she is 15 years old, and then she will die." The old witch shook her black stick at the princess. Then she disappeared, as she had entered, through the keyhole. The king and queen were troubled when they heard the witch's words, but the 7th fairy, who had not yet spoken, stepped forward. "The king's daughter shall not die, but she shall sleep for 100 years. When the princess falls asleep, every one in the palace will go to sleep too. They will all sleep for 100 years." Then the king ordered that every spindle in the kingdom should be destroyed. Not a spindle was to be used anywhere in the country until after the princess had passed her 15th birthday. The gifts of the fairies proved true. The princess was so beautiful and so good that she was loved by all. She was witty and wise, and her voice was like a silver bell. One day, when the princess was nearly 15 years old, she wandered through the palace and up the winding stairs to an old tower. There, in a little room, sat an old woman, busily twisting thread upon a spinning wheel. The old woman had never heard the king's command. "How merrily the wheel goes round! Let me see if I can spin," said the princess. Scarcely had the princess touched the spindle when she cut her finger. The girl fell at once into a deep sleep. She lay upon the floor beside the spinning wheel, fast asleep. In the castle below, the king, the queen, and all the servants fell asleep too. The horses slept in their stalls. The dogs slept in their kennels. Even the pigeons on the roof, and the birds in their nests, all went sound asleep. Even the fire, flaming on the hearth, became still. Deep shadows darkened the sunny rooms of the palace, and the garden round about. A hedge of thorns at once began to grow around the palace. The hedge became thicker and higher as the days went by, until at last it was so tall that not even the palace towers could be seen. The story of the princess, the beautiful Thorn Rose, was told far and wide. At last 100 years had passed. Prince Courageous was traveling through the land. He heard from an old man the story of the thorn hedge, and of the princess who lay in the palace behind the hedge, fast asleep. The old man told the prince that the time had come when the long enchantment was at an end. "But who knows how great the danger may be?" added the old man. "No one has entered the palace for 100 years." "I will brave the danger, whatever it may be," exclaimed Prince Courageous. "I will find the sleeping princess or lose my life." So Prince Courageous mounted his horse and rode through the woods until he came to the tall thorn hedge. He made his way through the underbrush. The briars were thick and the thorns sharp, but Prince Courageous was strong and brave. He knocked at the gate, but there was no answer. The prince opened the gate and entered the courtyard. All was silence in the palace hall. Only the sound of his own footsteps could Prince Courageous hear. Everybody was fast asleep, the horses in their stalls, the pigeons on the roof, the birds in their nests, the servants in the halls, the king and queen on their golden throne. Prince Courageous tiptoed through the silent rooms. Finally he reached the narrow stairway that led to the tower. The prince climbed the winding stairs. There, beside the spinning wheel, lay the beautiful princess, fast asleep. Stepping softly to her side, he kissed the princess on the cheek. Thorn rose, opened her eyes, and there stood the prince. And now all the court awoke. The horses began to neigh. The dogs began to bark. The pigeons cooed. The birds sang. The kitchen fire burst into flame. The sun shone brightly, and the roses on the palace walls swayed in the breeze. The prince and the princess were married next day, and the 7 good fairies danced at the wedding feast. End of Story 28. Read by Sabella Denton. For more free audiobooks or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org.